My topic is cyclotron. It is a kind of cyclic accelerators we have already learned in our previous classes. Although linear accelerators can in principle reach arbitrarily high particle energies and the length and hence the course of the machine grow with the energy, so it is therefore desirable to drive the particle around the circular path and the use of same accelerating structure as many times. So this is the principle behind the circular accelerator. The first circular accelerator to be developed according to this principle was the cyclotron, and which is proposed by E.O. Lawrence at the University of California in 1930. A year later, that means in 1931, Livingston succeeded in demonstrating the operation of a such machine experimentally. So in 1932, E.O. Lawrence and Livingston together built the first cyclotron suitable for experiments with a peak energy of 1.2 mega electron volt. So E.O. Lawrence was developed the principle of cyclotron, and Livingston succeeded the demonstrating of the operation of such a cyclotron experimentally. And this is the photograph of E.O. Lawrence. He is working with the 60-inch of diameter cyclotron at the University of California. To make the particles follow a circular path, the cyclotron uses an electromagnet which produces a homogeneous field of strength B between its two round poles. And there are two hollow electrons in the shape of letter D, inside of which the particles can move in a circular spiral trajectory with increasing radius, as indicating in this figure. The radio frequency signal is applied between the two Ds, designated as D1 and D2, which is creating an electric field in the gap between them. The figure gives an idea about the cyclotron. In this, which is clearly seen the two Ds and the perpendicular magnetic field B. The particles with a mass and charge move inside the vacuum chamber in a uniform magnetic field, that is, which is applied to the perpendicular to the plane of their paths. In such a field, a particle with speed moves in a circular path with a radius is given by R is equal to mv divided by modulus of q into b. To get the expression for this radius, we equate the magnetic force F on a moving charge modulus of q into v cross b with the centripetal force mv square by r. So by rearranging this, we get the expression for r, and the corresponding angular frequency is given by omega is equal to v divided by r, and when we substituting the expression for r, we get modulus of q into b divided by m as omega. And this figure indicates a top view of the D's arrangement, and in this the blue dots which indicates the axial magnetic field, and the radial path of moving charge q is indicated by the black or dark broken lines. And there is an alternative potential difference which is applied between the two D's, which is creating an electric field E in the gap between them, which is shown in the figure. So when the positive particle reaches in the gap, it is accelerated by the electric force, that means the electric field force between them. As their circular trajectory passes through the gap between the two D's, D1 and D2, they are accelerated and continue along a new path with a larger radius until they arrive back at the gap half an orbit later. And by the time the particle reaches the gap again, the D voltage has reversed and the particle is again accelerated, and the polarity of the potential difference and the electric field is changed preciously twice in each revolution, so that the particle gets a push each time they cross the gap. And as the particle enters the d1, that means the first d, from the gap as the particle enters d1 from the gap, its circular trajectory takes a new radius different from the previous one, and the pushes increase their speed and kinetic energy, boosting them into paths of larger radius. The maximum speed Vmax and the kinetic energy Kmax are determined by the radius r of the largest possible path, and the speed is given by modulus of q into br divided by m, and the maximum speed Vmax is given by modulus of q into b r divided by m, where r is the maximum possible radius inside the cyclotron. So, by assuming the non-relativistic speeds, we have the kinetic energy maximum, that means K max is equal to half mv max square, and which is equal to q square b square r square divided by 2m. And the maximum energy that can be attained with a cyclotron is limited by relativistic effects, and for relativistic particles the angular frequency, which is equal to modulus of q into b by m into root of 1 minus v square by c square, and in non-relativistic case the angular frequency omega is equal to v by r, and which is equal to modulus of q into b divided by m. And here the omega does not depends upon the particle velocity at all, and the reason behind this, as the energy increases, the orbit radius and hence the circumference along which the particles travel is increased in proportion, so that at a higher velocity is exactly compensated for larger radius, provided that the mass m remains constant. So, this condition is of course only satisfied for non-relativistic particles. The classical cyclotrons can accelerate protons, deuterons and alpha particles up to about 22 mega electron volt per electron charge. And at these energies, this motion is still sufficiently non-relativistic, with about 0.15 c, for the revolution frequency to remain approximately constant during the acceleration, and hence to fulfill the cyclotron condition. And these are about my topic. Thank you.